the tides of change, resilience, and community pride. We are proud to be sponsored by the UPass Historical Society, which is keeping our local legacy alive, one tale at a time. So settle in, lean close, and let's explore the voices, victories, and vibrant spirit of Teller County. This is Teller Time. Our guest today is Kevin Tedesco of the Teller County Sheriff's Office, a dedicated public servant with deep roots in our community and a clear commitment to safety, integrity, and leadership. Whether he's coordinating emergency response, supporting youth outreach, or strengthening trust between law enforcement and residents, Kevin brings a steady hand with a forward-thinking mindset to everything he does. We're honored to have him here to share insights, stories, and the heart behind the badge. Welcome, and thanks for joining us, Kevin.
Thanks for having me, Tom. I appreciate the invite.
All right, so Kevin, I understand you are running for the Sheriff's Office in Teller County in 2026. Let's hear a little bit about that, as to why and what and the who. So, answer some of the questions that people are probably thinking about, what your goals are there.
Sure, Tom. Absolutely. Yes, that's true. I have announced my campaign to run for Teller County Sheriff in the upcoming November 2026 election. I've had 21 years in law enforcement up to this point. I've worked for sheriff's offices my whole time. I haven't worked for any police departments. And there's a unique difference there between working for an elected official versus a county-appointed police chief, a city-appointed police chief. Being that I've been in a sheriff's office the whole time, it's a broad spectrum of responsibilities. It even goes back to even my father working as a sheriff's deputy.
I was going to ask you, is there a family tree, a history of police in your family?
There is. So in the 70s and 80s, even into the 90s, my father was a deputy sheriff in Western New York State, where I was raised. So I've been pretty accustomed to law enforcement my whole life. He also, of course, working for a sheriff's office, for a sheriff. I've learned some distinct differences there, and I've seen the evolution of the role of sheriff throughout my youth and then throughout my 21-year career. Law enforcement leadership is not so clearly defined as you're not just a police administrator anymore. As a sheriff of a county, you're responsible for both collaboration with state and federal resources, in collaboration with state efforts to legislate how we do our jobs. A significant part of what I do now in my current role in law enforcement is I interact with state legislatures to try to enact better laws that support law enforcement, support the constituents within the county. That's often a struggle here. Okay. As we know, politics is rough in Colorado.
Is there one that maybe you've favored that went through, if that's the right way to say it?
Well, believe it or not, and unfortunately so, more of our efforts have been to try to stop and or thwart those legislative impacts that would negatively affect what we stand for, what we believe in, and how we view responsibility here in Teller County.
Okay.
And what I say over and over again is that what happens in Denver, or what works in Denver, does not necessarily work for folks here in Teller County.
Exactly. It's a different beast up here. Like I tell people, Colorado Springs is different from Teller County. What works down there is not going to work up here. You've got to learn how to work the crowd, so to speak, up here and work the people.
Absolutely. Folks live up here for a specific reason. They have family values, leadership values, different interests than other areas in the state. Everyone that lives in this state lives in certain areas because they believe in the inherent values and the lifestyles of those areas, those respective areas. So it is my goal as a sheriff to stand up for the values that we believe in here. Obviously, protect our constitutional rights here. That's pretty extreme. I see a lot of legislative impacts that I believe negatively impact our Teller County way of life on a regular basis. Again, urban environment, it might work, it might be good for them, but there's votes outside of that urban environment, and that's us here in Teller County.
Well, I just see a lot, Teller Strong was a big motto way back when, when a lot of stuff was happening, but I think people are going to be very surprised if they try and come up to Teller County and try and cause a little bit of a ruckus. They're going to be met with probably
resistance,
a big time resistance in a lot of ways from people of all ages and all avenues, because it's a tight community, so to speak.
We're a tight community. We are a responsible community. We believe in integrity and values. As far and extreme from some other areas. We're collective, we're united, and we are strong. We are. So I understand there's a lot of cliche values in there.
Right.
But that's what this county is. That's what this community really believes in.
And I think people would see that, spend a day, spend a week up here, and they would just feel the energy and see what's going on just in the business owners, the people, how people carry themselves, how, everything is viewed in here. So that's
Sure.
what I like about this area. I've been up here 18 years, but just seen a lot of changes in the 18 years. But it is important. It's a great community.
It is. And a lot of that affects our law enforcement as well. Our law enforcement has to engage with the community as if they are responsible, law upholding citizens as well. And that's what we believe in. We don't need oppressive measures here. I believe that the people that live here are great people. They don't need overly restrictive governmental oversight on them. We do a good job as a community. Thankfully, we're heavily supported here in law enforcement. And we use that to our advantage. It allows us to interact with our community on a different level. We're not trying to gain ground here. Some other agencies, some other jurisdictions, law enforcement's trying to gain ground with their community so that law can be enforced voluntarily.
Right.
We don't have that uphill battle here. Thankfully, we're supported and we're able to interact with our community on an entirely different level. And that's what I believe is valuable.
Yeah, it definitely, there is definitely a lot of support at all the community events that you see. I mean, there is a lot of visibility from all the offices up here, all the law enforcement, and, a handshake, a smile, great interaction between everyone. And I think, getting back to the fact that the police officer is our friend, the sheriff is our friend, the young kids need a message like that, and it needs to change from the messages that have been getting sent out in the past. They need to know that when I was growing up, police officer is my friend. We need to get back into the sheriff is our friend, because you're always going to find them around. These kids need a safe place to go if there's something going on.
Oh yeah. We've heard the mottos or the movement of defund the police. We've been hearing that for several years now in other areas. The anti-law enforcement movements that are occurring around the country. Maybe less than it was before, but remember that was pretty strong a few years ago.
Right.
Law enforcement in general lost some credibility there for a while. Thankfully, I don't believe that we ever necessarily lost it here, but in other areas we saw significant changes in how the interaction was between law enforcement and the community. So thankfully, we're not trying to make that up and not trying to gain ground there. We didn't lose it here. I believe law enforcement does a great job here. And again, that's why I want to run for sheriff. I believe we've made significant progress, both with the agency and the agency's interaction with our community. And I want to make sure that we uphold that. It's taken a lot of work to get there. It has not come for free. It's taken a lot of effort, and I want to make sure that continues. And I want to make sure that the agency keeps continuing to represent this community well, as it has.
Well, anything worth having, you gotta work hard with, and I know a lot of the offices up here seem to work well with each other. And if you've got a problem, you talk about it and you come to a solution. And it's not always a win-win or me, my side, but again, communities and the groups and the public officials and the law enforcement officers working together is what I think has built the good energy that we have here, and that's definitely what people want to keep seeing. So. Yeah, that's a good message to have out there.
Absolutely, I agree.
Okay, so everything starts in November. All right. Contact information. I know, do sheriffs like to have coffee just like police officers?
I love coffee.
Okay.
I'll drink it at least the first half of my day, every day. Yes, donuts.
All right.
Believe it or not.
So your contact information, let's say if people want to find out more about your run for sheriff, where would they find some information for that?
Right now, the only social media page I have is a Facebook page. It's Tedesco for Teller County Sheriff. You can find that on it's Facebook only. On there, you can also find a link to send me an email. And I'd love to hear from folks. I want to hear what people believe is valuable for this county, for this community. I have my beliefs, I have my theories, but I can't do it alone. I can't do all this alone. And I also don't want to read anybody's minds. So
right.
If somebody has some insight as to what this county needs, I'd love to hear it.
Well, again, he's offering the fact that if you got a problem, let's hear about it. But if you're not going to discuss the problem, I can't help you type deal.
Yes,
exactly. So that's what we got to do here. All right, so let's get a little bit in some fun stuff here. Which movie cop past or present, do you secretly relate to?
Oh boy. Oh, was it Die Hard? What was that guy's name on Die Hard?
Oh, I know it was Bruce Willis, but I don't know what his acting name
Yeah,
was.
he was pretty cool. I'd go with that one.
So you got Bruce Willis, okay, in the past, not Bruce Willis now, right?
Not
Okay.
now.
All right. What's one piece of advice you wish you had gotten at age 15?
Oh, I wish I had more budget advice back then. I struggled to not spend too much money when I was a kid.
Okay.
I would love to get a few of those dollars back now.
All right. What is the most used app on your phone?
The texting app?
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Text? I see. That's probably pretty much everyone's, most used app on the phone. All right. What is your coffee order on a Monday morning when you get to work?
Black, straight.
Straight
no
black.
coffee, no cream, no sugar.
Okay. If you're an outdoor person, do you have a favorite local trail or a lookout point that you go to, maybe for peace and just, tranquility for a little bit?
We're blessed right here. 357, the trail system north of Divide, north of Woodland Park. I love going out in that area.
Okay. All right. One thing people would be surprised to learn about you.
That's a good one.
Do you have a good singing voice? Are you a mean cook?
I'm not a good cook. I follow directions explicitly, and I still fail.
Okay.
I'm a horrible dancer. I don't even dare try. I cannot sing. But I would say my music taste. Most people are pretty surprised by my music taste. I listen to everything.
Okay.
Literally everything.
All right. Do you prefer desk duty or field work?
Field.
Okay. I'm sure. I don't know how many people would prefer sitting at a desk all day long.
Look at me running for sheriff to sit at a desk most of the time.
Yeah. But yeah, Teller County, I would definitely want to be out in the field too.
Oh, I will be.
All right. Breakfast burrito or donut run?
Breakfast burrito.
All right. And our last one, which is better working for you, a snowstorm or a wildfire drill?
A snowstorm.
Snowstorm.
Yeah.
Okay. Why do you prefer snowstorm over? There's a tongue twister right
Well,
there. Snowstorm over a wildfire drill.
A wildfire drill, because that is very encompassing what I do already for a living. I oversee our emergency management functions here in the county. So
Okay.
wildfire drill is part of my daily.
All right. Well, big thanks to Commander Kevin Tedesco, for joining us today and sharing not just his experience, but his heart for Teller County. He reminds us that leadership starts with listening, service, and showing up for your community. And the motto, I think, never alone, never outnumbered, is something to remember with us. So thank you very much, Kevin.
Thank you, Thom.
And thank you.